Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Generation X Nation. First things first, as always, thank you to all of my new subscribers. Thank you everybody who left a comment. Thank you for anybody who hit the like button. Hit the like button, please, people. That's all I ask you to do. You ain't even got to listen to my whole video. Just hit the like button, okay? Now, with that being said, it does not go unnoticed. I appreciate everybody who has subscribed to the channel and has taken the time to listen to my commentary. All right. As always, my commentary is done week to week based on the current episode that airs. I do understand things are edited. I understand we don't get the whole scenes, but I do the best I can on the information that I receive. Sometime I wait a few days before I do commentary because I look at social media just to see if maybe the characters in the shows have said something about the show, because sometimes they will come back and say something that we missed in the scenes that was edited. With that being said, I do understand a lot of these shows have already been pre-recorded per se. They're a few months behind real time. So a lot of things that's going on in Belle Collective and Love and Marriage Huntsville has happened months and months ago. And the ladies may be in a different space right now. So don't take it all literally. It's just my commentary. My commentary is for entertainment purposes only. And everything I said is alleged. Okay, so it's alleged for entertainment purposes only. Just my opinion. That's all. With that being said, do a real quick review of Belle Collective and Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now we're gonna start out with Belle Collective real quick because it wasn't a lot to see there, but we're gonna get into the whole Glenn and Letitia the thing because those two are the most interesting couples so far. So let's get started. Letitia and Latrice are finishing up their discussion over there at the Carrie therapy thing that she had at her house down there in Gulfport. And Miss Alethea, who they said is pimping positivity. Ooh, I ain't never heard that word. Is basically telling these girls, y'all both love each other and y'all both have issues because I think, in a sense, it was just a big trust issues, a bunch of going back and forth. He said, she said, and all of that. And she wanted them to know that y'all can work this out if y'all sit down and have a conversation outside of the collective with just you, Letitia, and Latrice alone. And everybody was happy with that conclusion. Um, then they go into Carrie sitting there. I think her company name is Brick and Spoon. And she's sitting there letting the lady know she may have to close the restaurant and she doesn't want to do it, but it may be something that needs to be done. And then, I mean, not the lady, I'm sorry, Matt. She's talking with Matt, and Matt has let her know that he's going to quit his job and go and do his own thing. So, as she's thinking about closing the restaurant, Matt is thinking about quitting his job. I don't know if the time is good, but Carrie's going to support her man anyway and do his own thing. And I say, hey, kudos to you, Matt. Do what you want to do. If you feel like you can do it along, do it. A lot of people are doing that. They're going into business for themselves, Matt. So we can't knock you. I just question the timing. I'm kind of with Carrie. If you know we losing money over here, why would you go and take money from over there? Because the math ain't gonna be math. And we hate to see you guys get into a financial bind because you seem like a pretty savvy business couple. So, Matt, if that's what you want to do, hold on to your dream, but let Carrie settle the whole restaurant thing before you get that deep into it. Okay. Then after that, we're gonna talk about I think it was Selena and Latrice sitting down talking. Selena was getting her wedding stuff together, and they just, they talked about their medical issues. And I didn't know Selena had had a stroke. God bless you, Selena. I'm so happy that you have recovered because I don't remember seeing that. And if I did, I might have forgot about it. But she was letting her know how important health is and everything that she went through. And Latrice was letting her know about the blood clots and all that stuff. And, her issue with the OBGYN lady with the fibroids and stuff, that Cliff was with her at the time she was in there. And Cliff said it was his first time there. And I thought that was odd. Y'all married and this your first time coming meeting the doctor, and she had this procedure before. But again, I'm not going to say anything because I think Cliff and Latrice are on a good path. Cliff is really, really hands-on and Mr. Husband of the Year so far. Cliff has really impressed me this particular season. He is really, really taking care of his wife. I don't know who talked to Cliff, but whatever you did, it definitely is working. All right. So, and then after that, Letitia and Latrice had their sit down. They seem to have gotten along and resolved the issues, and they agreed to push some stuff aside and work on going forward with the collective. And I think that's great. Letitia says she will forget about the Amanda stuff, and I think Latrice would forget about whatever Tisha said about her. She would forget about the Amanda stuff, and Latrice would forget about whatever she said about her. But the fact that they came together and decided to squash everything was great to me. And I thought that was really, really showing the growth in these ladies. And hopefully it holds on going forward for the rest of the season. Now, let's get to the good stuff. All right. That damn Glenn. Glenn, I don't know who told you. I don't know. I guess Glenn has been this way his whole life, and apparently Letitia likes it. So I'm gonna leave it at that because this ain't stuff that happened overnight. Now, Glenn, Letitia's having her photo shoot for her upcoming talk show. And she has, apparently her manager name is first, and then she has that other guy who's her investor, and I forget his name, Mr. Pugh Donald. He's a producer. I'm sorry, producer slash investor. And he's telling Letitia that he feels Glenn is a little insecure. Now, a Shantae, I think that's her name. And that's odd because how many seem like a lot of Latrice, Letitia's, Shantae, wasn't so Gucci name Shantae or something too, or Chantel, something like that. But anyway, Shantae is telling her she thinks Glenn just needs an audience and he loves acting a fool. So as they start talking about Glenn, they basically speak him up because Glenn walks in. Glenn get out that car. And let me tell you, Glenn looked like he just got through making a transaction. That's all I'm going to say. Sometimes you kind of get to a certain age where you need to maybe do a quarter zip commercial. Glenn, tone it down just a little bit. You got all this stuff going on, the jewelry and all that. And I know some people love the I'm a thug look, whatever. If you're trying to get to the next level, and I'm just keeping it real, if you're trying to get to the next level with your wife and what she's doing, tone it down. I ain't saying don't be yourself, but maybe look a little bit more professional because you said you want to be part of this team, but you look out of place on the team, Glenn. That's all I'm saying. So they said, hey, what Glenn doing here? Glenn said, I invited myself to the photo shoot. So, of course, her manager First is looking sideways. I think there's some deep-seated history between First and Glenn because First was talking too much crap to Glenn for him to be Letitia's manager. If you are Letitia's manager, don't you know her husband? And Letitia, how did you put a team together and never introduce them to your husband, or they don't get along with your husband? Something is off for me with this whole this is my team stuff because the executive producer Donald Pugh doesn't care for Glenn, and then Mr. First, the manager, doesn't care for Glenn, but Glenn is your husband, so he has to come first, like it or not. And you go out and hire people that don't F with your husband. Glenn said, look, I won't in on this. This is my wife. I don't get no phone. I need to get phone calls. I need to be CC'd in emails. I need to know everything that's going on. You need to go directly through me when you need something. Glenn, you pushing too much. Now, I am completely in line with Latrice when she's saying that your husband does need to be informed and known. But the way you came at them, Glenn, you act as though you own Letitia. Letitia is not your property. She is your wife. Letitia, in my opinion, you was a little disrespectful. Once again, as I said in uh, previous videos, you got to let Glenn in on some things, okay? He needs to know what you up to, kind of your schedule, but he don't need to make all the decisions. Glenn, tone it down. Take off all the jewelry. Stop looking like you still some YN, still in your 20s, and you just made a new transaction. Come in there just a little more clean cut, get your vocabulary together a little better. And I know it's just me, whatever, but you're dealing in a different group of people and you're going to have to know how to maneuver in that group. And I'm not saying you can't be who you are, but you see how Cliff like tones it down? Get with the Cliff. Go over there and see Carrie's husband, Matt, and let him tell you how to present yourself. Because the way you present yourself, that don't make people want to work with you. But I digress. Okay. After they get to arguing and fighting, Mr. First come over to Glenn like, what you gonna do? Glenn run up to him. First ain't moved. Mr. First just looked at Glenn and everybody grabbing Glenn. He acted wild. First looked like, I wish you would, Ninja. You would be laid out. I got that out of First. But once again, what is going on? Letitia is saying, hey, Glenn just think you trying to get something from me, whatever. Just let him know you happily married and all that. Letitia, Glenn should already know these people. You're hiring people that your husband don't know. When you decide to bring these people aboard, they should have been introduced to your husband. Y'all should have talked together what you can bring to the table, what they're bringing to the table. Glenn should have been in on the meetings. I believe that to be true, and he is right. But Glenn, if you want them to start bringing you in, you got to present yourself better. That was foolish what you did. Now you got your wife embarrassed. She crying at her photo shoot, which is supposed to be a great day because she's trying to get her talk show off the ground. And here you is acting like a fool, like some street dude. Don't nobody want to deal with that. She's trying to sell this stuff to the next level. Don't nobody want to worry about your ghetto behind walking up on a studio while she interviewing somebody acting like this. Know your part, boo. Know your part. Glenn, she always chose you, babe. Why are you out here tripping? It seems like to me you're deflecting because of all the stuff you done to her. And now you scared she gonna do the exact same thing to you. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. It seems to me that Glenn is determined to sabotage your success. Glenn is so scared that you are going to leave him or cheat on him just the way he cheated on you. He's scared you're going to do to him what he's done to you several times. You worried about your wife cheating or being with some other dude because you know in the same setting you would do the same. If Glenn was doing a talk show and some people was around that was his team and there were some females in that team, you would probably be hitting on them females so they looked halfway decent. You know, if that was you in first position or Mr. Pugh's position as the executive producer or the manager, that you would probably be hitting on Letitia. So you think they are just like you because you're projecting your crazy behavior on these two men who probably ain't even thinking like that. They're looking at, hey, we're going to get this business deal together and we're going to make some money. And every dime she brings in the house, Glenn, is your money too. You messing your wife's money up because you're jealous when y'all could be doing this together. Once again, find you a position on the team. Hell, I don't care if you security, but don't sabotage what your wife is trying to do out of your own jealousy, insecurities, and deflecting your cheating on her. Because you cheat, you automatically think she gonna cheat. Because you ain't shit nigga. You ain't shit ninja. You think these men are ain't shit ninjas too. Everybody ain't like you, Glenn. And stop projecting that on them. And last but not least, Marie. Marie is silently the boss of the Bells, okay? Marie said, I'm opening up my ninth center. Y'all got Marie back here in the background. Marie need to be coming to the front. Marie is doing that business, okay? She is doing the business. All right. But Marie don't get out there. She don't brag about it. She don't use it as a badge of honor. She know who she is. And she is thriving. I'm like, God, Marie got 9 centers. Girl, I need to see more of this. I need to see more of this. Y'all have Letitia sitting in front and center with her empowerment luncheons, empowering women, and she can't even empower herself half the time. You are telling women what they should be doing to empower themselves and how they should be boss bees and all of that. And technically, you're not a boss bee because Glenn is sabotaging everything you got, and you pretty much at his beck and call. He's holding you down financially. And I'm not saying you don't have a job. I'm saying you are doing the exact opposite of what you teach at your ladies' brunch about women's empowerment. That's all I'm saying. And with that being said, I'll be telling people about be careful about going to these women's empowerment brunches. Make sure when you go, you're aligning yourself with women who are actually in power. Because some people just be doing it and they ain't really running a damn thing but their mouth. All right. Now, if anybody should be holding empowerment brunches, maybe it should be Marie. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Move Marie. If Latrice and Letitia can't get it together, then you might not need to move Marie up to the front. Because Letitia and Latricia, I'm sorry, Latrice and Letitia were really the center of the show because they were the two. She was boss over here and Latrice was boss over here. But y'all put Marie behind y'all. And I'm like, Marie is actually that big. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Selena promised to find Marie a boyfriend at the wedding. So we'll see how that goes. Well, let's move on to Love and Marriage Huntsville. All right, we're gonna get through this one. Letitia, let's just talk Letitia Scott and Kimmy Scott. If these ain't the most two-faced and Destiny, Letitia Scott, Kimmy Scott, and Destiny are some of the most two-faced women I've ever seen in my freaking life. Y'all sat in that Taco Tuesday, had these big arguments going back and forth, and where Letitia said, "Don't trust that whole whatever thing," and she said she was joking. Kimmy's in the comments saying what she want to say. She really don't care for Letitia, but she got to roll with her anyway, and I could tell by her comments. Then Kimmy was mad because Letitia didn't tell her about the opening or the deal with the real estate investment, and it just goes on and on. So anyway, they come to the conclusion that they're going to do better. They had one common enemy. I guess that was Nell. Even though Destiny said, I'm really not mad at Nell, Letitia's still mad at what Nell said about my marriage and my Letitia, I keep telling you to grow up, and you're not growing past this character that they have you portrayed on the show. And we need you to grow past that. Hell, even Destiny then grew past her character. So y'all all said we need to talk more. Don't do this behind each other back. Need to be better friends with each other. And I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. Y'all didn't have all this energy when y'all was running y'all past castmates off the show. Y'all did her dirty. Y'all didn't give her a chance to express herself. Y'all basically attacked her. So now I'm like, oh, now y'all want to be more loyal to each other and make sure that we take care of each other and we're there for each other and we allow each other to express our opinions and all that shit. I don't care. It just didn't make no sense to me. However, they finished it up. Destiny told them about her family issues and they volunteered themselves to go to Michigan, Detroit, and be by her side while she go through that. I thought that was nice. I don't think Destiny really wanted it in the beginning, but I think she said, okay, let's just go along with it. So we got a little storyline. Now, as soon as they all leave the city, the Taco Tuesday, Destiny run over to Trish house to tell her the gossip. Kimmy run and tell Maurice the gossip. Letitia runs and tell Marceau the gossip. And while Destiny is talking to Trish, Trish is sitting there saying, well, Letitia's is loud and Kimmy is, however, but I don't really think, that they really meant what they said. She studied trying to defend them Scots. I guess she don't want to get in their bad graces, okay? She want to stay in the Scots' good graces. Destiny was like, okay, cool, whatever. She left it alone. She asked her how Ken and her getting along. And I think they broken up this time. And Destiny in the comments, girl, every other day it changes. One day they broke up, the next day together. I don't never know what's going on. You're insinuating that Trish is lying, which we finding out later on. Trish is a liar. Then Kimmy's over there telling Maurice about the whole Destiny and Letitia's scuffle. They went back and forth, and finally they decided to make amends and do better. And then they all decided to go to Michigan to help Destiny find her mom. Then Letitia's over there telling Marceau, same story. Well, I told Destiny this and that, and then she said this to me. Oh, before she gets to that, she tells it about, well, Kimmy felt a certain way. I felt she didn't want to work with me because when I asked her before about her realtor's license and she wanted to do this and that, and then she act like she didn't want to work with me, so I just left her alone. And then they go on confessional. Nobody ever knows what Kimmy's doing. Kimmy's always by herself. We don't find out till it goes on social media. Kimmy never tells nobody nothing. So what that tells me is Kimmy and Letitia ain't as great as friends as they say they are because you're still talking behind each other back. It's just weird to me. Scott 1.0 and 2.0, y'all supposed to be best friends, sister-in-laws, whatever, whatever, whatever. But then y'all go into confessionals and talk crap, and then you go back to your home to your husbands and talk crap about each other. Kimmy ain't never liked Letitia, and I still see it. It ain't changed. She's just faking the funk now for storylines. That's all I'm saying. Go along and get along. So, in the midst of all that, Destiny Letitia and Kimmy are eventually going to end up in Detroit. And to me, all I seen was three ladies who are faking for the story, for the camera, to create a storyline to save this show when they don't really technically care for each other. Letitia, in my opinion, think that she is the center of the show, the queen of Huntsville now that her castmate is gone, and everything centers around her. And she has mouth for everybody but Marceau. Because when Marceau told her, start questioning her about why are you going to Detroit with somebody you say you don't like and don't like you. And she like, see, she got smoke for everybody but Marceau. She talked crap to everybody but Marceau. He's the only one that can check Tisha. But everybody else, if somebody else would have said the same thing to her, she'd have snapped. But she never does that to him. Now, I get it. That's her husband. She tries to respect him. But it's just real funny to me how she got all the smoke in the world for everybody else, but won't say anything when Marceau catches her and checks her and makes her look like a fool. She don't reply back. That's just Tisha. But for some reason, Tisha has crowned herself the queen of Huntsville. And all y'all will bow to her. And y'all seem to be doing that. Now, noticeably, I ain't see Martell Hope. I didn't see Chris Fletcher, and we seen a few minutes of Nell Fletcher. The Scots is taking over this show. That's all I'm saying. Because when they left those scenes, all of a sudden, what's his name? Micah, Maurice, and Marceau are sitting down having a conversation about Kimmy and how Kimmy feels about Maurice. And Maurice is in his soft boy era. Maurice said, look, I didn't put in the hard work, then got the calluses, then been out here sweating and all this stuff. I ain't trying to work like that. I love my soft boy era as an attorney. And they're trying to tell him your wife was attracted to you as a blue collar worker, the manual labor, watching you sweat in a tank top and some muscles, putting in some flooring or painting the wall. That's what she felt you was at your sexiest. And she would come to those sites and y'all would do the do, and then she go home. She come to the site now. You're sitting in the office getting a manicure, drinking a glass of white wine like me, not looking as masculine as she would like you to look. And I think that's what he's missing. And they're trying to tell him that she wants to see you doing manly stuff. Now, one thing I would say about Marceau, when we see Marceau, he got that two belt on, them jeans, and one of his black t-shirts, but he's always working, looking like, manly work. Now, he may like doing the blue collar work. Maurice say, that ain't for me, dude. I done that. I'm trying to live my life. I get it, Maurice. I get it. Most of us work our way up to that level and say, hey, I ain't finna go back there with the minions. I'm staying up here. You know what I'm saying? Where life is good. But that is what attracted Kimmy to you. And for some reason, Kimmy's still trapped in that Maurice and she's not appreciating the new Maurice. So every now and then, Maurice, go get you some coveralls and a paintbrush, and put on a tank top and put the coveralls down halfway, tied at the waistline, put a little sweat on you, and paint a doggone hallway. And when she come in the house and see it, that may turn her on. Because apparently she likes blue collar men. That's what I'm getting. Because she worked at a hospital. So I'm sure there's a lot of doctors there. And maybe she ain't hook up with none of them. And she found you building houses. Maybe that's what she's attracted to. The guy that's, pouring the tar down on the highway or painting a yellow sign in the hot sun or something. I don't know. But that's what I got out of what Kimmy was saying. And I think Maurice was just missing that. And for some reason, Micah and Marceau kept telling him that she likes to see a manly man. And they didn't want to say you are what they call what's that name of it? They call these new guys now? Metrosexual type dude. The kind that go get manicures and pedicures and massages and more girly stuff, that facials, stuff that women usually do, but men do it. That don't mean nothing wrong with them, but they do it. And she likes the rugged dude. And I think that's what you miss. And they said, hey, if you do all that, see if something changed. And then Micah says the most disgusting thing, you probably get a BJ if you do that. And I'm like, dude, where did that come from? Where did that come from? I don't know. But anyway, that's how it ended. The three amigos this season, this particular episode, Kimmy, Destiny, and Letitia, fake friends, if you ask me. They walked out of there and went back and repeated everything that happened. If y'all really, really meant what y'all was talking about, and I know you was talking to your husband, you should just left the conversation right there. If he said, how did everything go at Talking Tuesday? It went great. The ladies seemed to came to agreement. Everybody tried to get along and communicate better. And it should have stopped right there. But y'all had to tell everything that happened. And then Destiny over there, well, since Tish wasn't invited to Taco Tuesday, why didn't y'all invite her? She wasn't there. Why didn't y'all invite her? And then you told her everything that was said. Y'all didn't invite Nell. Hmm. Seem like to me you're trying to isolate Nell out just a tad bit because I'm not seeing any scenes with Nell so far. I have not seen any scenes with Nell starting this second half. And y'all all going to Detroit without Nell. So are y'all pushing the Fletchers off the show too? Because you damn sure done push Martell out of there. Unless some more scenes are coming up with Martell. Again, episode by episode is what I do my commentary on. This is all alleged, in my opinion. When is Martell coming in? And not just one scene. I need to see more of Martell and what he got going on. Because I don't really think he got much going on, but he said he does. And let's hope he do. All right. And as far as the Fletchers, it's just weird because they were such an exciting family. And now we don't see them. But I will say this before I finish. Kimmy, Destiny, and looks like Marceau, not Destiny, I'm sorry. Yeah, Destiny, Marceau, and Maurice, when they go to Detroit, there's a whole nother storyline up there. Did y'all see Maurice's them father? The way he was acting toward Kim and Tisha, it seemed like he don't care for them, or they not used to being around him. Because for y'all to be with these guys for so long, he should have been a little bit more comfortable around y'all. He said it's family business. Well, y'all are family. Okay? When y'all asked him what was going on, he's like family business. And y'all looked at him. That's your father-in-law? And Tisha, you've been married to Marceau for damn near 20 years, and that's how he talks to you. And I know he live in another state, but y'all should have a better, a better relationship than that. Kimmy, too. You around 14. Just my opinion. This is why I say the Scots are like taking over this show. Because now you're bringing their family in. And then Destiny bringing her family in. But the point I want to get to before I finish this commentary, before I land all this, is this. You guys had interesting families. Marceau and Maurice. Y'all have interesting families back there in Michigan. And apparently there's some stuff going on with your dad and whatever else from what I can see. And Destiny, you had an interesting family dynamic. It ain't perfect, but no family is. And what you're going through, a lot of families could relate to. And you didn't show that because y'all all were so focused on one couple on the show. The couple who was the most vulnerable, who actually exposed their life, brought their family members in. Martell brought his mama in. Your ex-castmate brought her mother in, and Martell brought his brother in, and all that. They was exposing their family, and y'all never got on the train to do the same for your family, outside of bringing in crazy Miss Wanda. So you had, and even then, Miss Wanda has an interesting family. I remember when y'all went down there to Bessemer to that little thing where they was about to beat Marceau behind. But what I'm saying is, y'all could have brought these storylines in seasons ago, and it would have been so interesting. And it wouldn't have been just so focused on one person where the audience felt like y'all was attacking and harassing one person. And now the person's gone, and now you have to open your life up. It's like, had that person not left, would y'all never have exposed this part of y'all life? See, all of y'all had interesting lives, which would have made for great storylines. And y'all ruined it by attacking one person who ultimately left the show and took a lot of viewers with them because they felt a certain way when y'all each could have been exposing these storylines. And even though that one person was going through something with the ex, that still could have worked out differently had y'all been more supportive and making sure that they were able to communicate with each other during the shows and then showing a new life path going forward. And maybe they could have been getting along with each other better instead of picking sides and dividing and then attacking and attacking. Y'all had interesting storylines. That's all I'm saying. And with that being said, hopefully these storylines will pull some more viewers in and make people watch. But I think some people just tired. And they felt like y'all waited too late to let us know what was really going on in your life. And I kind of felt like that too. But I look back on it and say, God, if y'all would have showed this part, hell, if we'd have met Marceau and Maurice's dad early 4, 5 seasons ago, it would have made me understand completely why they behaved the way they behaved. Because he seemed like he acts just like them. Destiny, I get why your anger was at everybody because of your mama and your background and not knowing your siblings. You had to carry that anger and trauma for years. Why did y'all let people know this was going on? Y'all was so focused on piling up on one person when y'all could have each been living your own storyline and let her live her little divorce thing, and y'all could have lived y'all, and it would have kept people interested instead of turning in every week and watching y'all pile up on one person. Just my opinion. And that's all this is. Now, with that being said, everything I say is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. I hope y'all liked my commentary. I'm always all over the place because that's just how I go. I write notes down, and sometimes I get off track. Most content creators do that. But I want to get out what was on my mind at the time it comes into my brain. So, with that being said, thank you to everybody who listens. Leave a comment. And what do y'all think? Do you think it's going to be geared more towards the Scots this season, or are they going to be a mixture of the Scots? I guess it'll be a mixture of the Scots and Destiny. And I forgot about Ken and Trish. And I'll just say this. I don't know if Ken and Trish together because sometimes I see posts where he's posting like they're together, they're not together. I really don't know. And personally, I don't really care. But allegedly, in my opinion, I'm just going to say this. When they went to see Dr. Francis and they had that conversation, I'm 100% in agreement with Ken at this point. Trish, we're over it. Like she said, I don't talk a lot. And I see you're opening up. I appreciate that. But I believe what Ken said. You take your anger out on him because of your ex. I believe that. I've said it every time I ever did commentary on you. Whatever Marquez did to you, you are putting it out on Kim because I still believe you still have deep feelings for Marquez and you didn't let it go. Now, you may not be in that stage right now, but at the time of this filming of these shows, you were still a little bit in love with Marquez. And had a door been open, you probably would have walked through it. Two, I believe you lie a lot. And Destiny alluded to that earlier when she said every other week you together, you're not together. And Ken said you're lying. And then when Ken said you ain't spoken 3 months, he proved his point right then and there. You're sitting here talking to this doctor like y'all communicating every day, and he ain't talked to you in 3 months. Nothing changed there. Either you're gonna be with Ken or you not. But stop dragging that man along. Because truth be told, as much as I didn't like the way Ken came on the scene, taking somebody, in somebody else's relationship and trying to take a hold of their children, whatever, but you can only take what, you can't take what people don't allow you to take or whatever. As much as I didn't like that, Ken is an eligible, available bachelor who is single with a job and no children, and it's not bad looking on the eyes, Trish. You better make a decision before somebody come and make that decision for you. And with that being said, this is Generation X Nation. Leave a comment, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit that freaking like button, people. That's not a threat. Hit the subscribe button. Let me know. I always reply back. And I just want to say this as always. It is Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. I'm finna go watch the medicine ladies. I always call them the medicine lady. I'm finna go watch Married to Medicine. I'll do a commentary tomorrow. But uh, y'all be safe out there. Be vigilant. I know we in some trying times. Remember, God is always in control and God moves on his time and nobody else's. All right. So enjoy life. Just be safe, be vigilant, and pray for our service members because we don't know what's about to erupt. Hopefully it ends soon, but just in case, send some extra prayers out for them. And this is Gen X Nation, and I'm out. Peace.